Where has he been, you may all ask? Hey guys, it's Lee from FX Model Miniatures back, finally, with a bit of an update video as to what I've been up to. I've had a real long hiatus from building anything, just needed some downtime. I have my own struggles, so yeah, just walked away from things for a little while, so I haven't really been working on anything at all after a few Y-wings, but just recently got back to doing pretty much the last of the ROTJ Y-wings for Jason. Shout out to Jason at Rogue 16. And I've been playing with this, which is my sculpt of the Boushh concept maquette. I don't actually know whether I've actually done anything video-wise on this thing. I can't actually remember. Brain fade. But yeah, I've always loved this figure. Way. I mean, I'm talking years ago since I first saw it in the Star Wars Archives book by Cotter and Vaz. Yeah, I just love the look of this very raw, very handmade maquette. It just had this look about it. And yeah, I was looking at it last year or so, I believe, and I started IDing the kit parts that are on it. I managed to get pretty much everything ID'd. Just one donor kit was just crazy expensive, which actually gives the parts to the helmet, basically. Yeah, very expensive kit, and it was like, wow, do I really want to spend that? But luckily, Pete Lawrence, thanks Pete, he came to my aid, helped me out with the donor parts, and allowed me to create the masters for this. As I said, it's a replica of the maquette, and it's not perfect. There are probably guys out there that could do a much better job than me. They're sculptors or whatever, but I had to employ some really weird methods of creating these patterns, because the original it's pretty much wrapped in cloth, and then that cloth, it looks to me like it's been painted. And then word is, I think it was built by Joe Johnston. Word is then the sash and the cloak and the bandolier, etc. All those pieces were tin foil, aluminum or aluminium foil, which obviously that's impossible. That's logistic. That's just you can't create that. I mean, even for me to do a one-off as a display piece in my cabinet, it would be such a fragile piece. It would really have its drawbacks. So, what I did was used the artist mannequin that again was used by ILM, just a basic wooden artist mannequin to gain the pose and the overall figure. And fabric was then applied to the model. But then it was coated with resin. I used epoxy resin, 2-part resin, to actually paintbrush over the fabric. Some areas it worked like a charm. Other areas were a lot more tricky and difficult. It's just the amount of fabric that needed to be applied, and I was so far out of my comfort zone doing this. It was insane, but I thought I need to try. I need to give it a go. And it worked for the most part. It was really fun, but at the same time, when the masters were completed and they were all sent off to Ed Francais, who does the resin casting, I really didn't know how this was going to work out. All I could see was this shape in primer that looked okay, but it was seeing it in the more final paint stages that would really make it. Well, it would really tell me, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? But I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm pretty happy. She's a little bit skinnier than the original maquette. Again, I didn't know it was so hard to actually gauge, the thicknesses and how fat this leg's gonna be, using the techniques that I used to still make it look like something that's covered in fabric. I'm not a clay sculptor. I know nothing about that art, so I had to kind of do this on the fly with techniques that I thought would work, and they did. So yeah, this is the first resin casting of this model. It actually cast the head, torso, arms, and legs. Everything else is actually just cast into the model. And this is it's literally a test build and paint test just to see what's working. For me, the tones work. Main tones are Archive X. These are all Archive X acrylics. Archive X Earth, D&H Caboose Red, SP Light Lark Grey, SP Dark Lark Grey, then there's some Engine Black for the gloves, and there's some foundation as well, some foundation. And finally, the camera's not really picking it up to the eye. It looks a lot more aged and subdued to the actual eye. I'm finding it very difficult to get that effect in a photograph or camera, but I then used grime, just a really fine mist of light grime, that really added some age. I wanted this to look very, very old, very bespoke, very worn. It had to have this specific look for me, because this isn't a Hot Toys or a sideshow. It's a very quirky, almost hanger for these wonderful donor parts. And that was the idea of creating this. It was never to be this dynamic Hot Toys figure or anything like that. I just needed it to look old, very quirky, but have lots of movement. The changes I made the cloak and the sash, and Ed, he was in the process of moulding those. But on this test model, I decided to try the cloak and the sash in 0.75 styrene, which this is, it's all just, it's all styrene. And what I did was use the heat gun and sculpted it in all by hand, with some burnt fingertips, I might add. So wear gloves if you're using heat guns and plastic. But yeah, burnt my fingers to bits, but came out with a cloak that's actually, I am much happier with it being in styrene. So I think future ones, yes, will have a styrene sash and cloak. It just makes them a little bit more malleable. I can get them a little finer, a little thinner, and also then they may, resin ones may sag over time, which obviously this isn't going to sag now. As I said, this is a test. This is literally just a test. There are some tweaks I want to make to the paintwork. The paintwork it's not exactly to my liking. There are changes I already want to make. Only very small changes, just in the amounts that I've used, and just very small tweaks, just to refine it a little bit more for my liking, should I say. What else? We just added the little ribbon here. There's like a ribbon that hangs from a head on the original. As it stands now, I think the actual model, it's pretty broken and pretty sad looking now. I've tried to depict it as it appeared in the book those years ago. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's not for everyone. I'm not saying it's I'm this amazing sculptor. It's definitely a very, very, very quirky piece. Very unique and very bespoke, and that's what I wanted to create. Still need to, obviously there are a few parts that need to go on this girl yet. There's the gauntlets and straps that have to go on here. Those I've got currently painted. Need to finish the staff, and there's like a really fine strap and some grips that are on the staff. So I want to create those probably in maybe 0.2, 0.3 styrene, just something to hang there nicely in a nice shape. That again, won't get broken with handling. It'll just be nice and pliable. And then obviously the staff tip that I've got to create yet. Those I'm just going to create. I cannot ID the donor parts on the end of the staff, so that's just going to be created in styrene. But as it stands, oh yes, there's some more donor parts to be added to the bandolier. These parts that are on the bandolier have been painted in, but there are a couple of parts that still need to be cast. But oh yes, and obviously, sorry, another piece yet. There's a huge brooch that sits here, a rather weird round brooch antennae from an F-14 that actually sits on a chest. And the last part that just needs to be done is then a backpack, which is another assembly that just sits on a back there, which then pretty much completes it. That's all the donors on her then. We'll be doing a run of these. This one is actually, I think this one's spoken for already, but there will be a run of finished Boushh replicas. So once that happens, I can kind of start showing what the production ones will be looking like. The base will change. It's going to have a round black base. A lot of people probably are going to find they'll want to display this in a certain position. So obviously a neutral round black base will just allow it to rotate with just having the same footprint wherever you put it in a display cabinet. So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised, and it's turned out not 100% how I envisioned it, but I'm happy with it. So I hope you guys like it, and hopefully in the near future a few of you would support and own one. That would be awesome to have some of them in people's collections. As I said, it's such a weird piece, and I like the weird. I love the weird, quirky, strange stuff. It's always been my go-to with model building, more so over the past few years. I like to be different. I don't like doing things that are the whole crowd are doing, and it's kind of counterproductive when you've got several people just working on the same model. Do something different. You can always come back to some staple stuff later. Do something quirky and wild and have fun with it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, just a little tour round. I will keep you updated on the production ones. I will endeavour to get some proper, some better photographs of this once she's all fully completed. As I said, there's still quite a little bit of work to be done to her, but for the most part, the paintwork's finished. It's just some little final touches I need to do. Yeah, so thanks for stopping by, guys. Hope you like. Happy to hear your opinions. As I said, she's not perfect. I did my best, but I'm pretty happy. To the eye, she looks pretty dynamic. Lots of movement. Very aged. So kind of achieve what I set out to do. It's just obviously the princess has been on a diet in this case, as opposed to the size 14 mannequin. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And just before I go, Jason Eaton, buddy, please come on. Let's not tell lies. People in glass houses and all that, dude. Let's not tell lies, mate. Nobody likes a liar. But yeah, peace be with you, dude. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.